Yes, that says Final Scratch Record. This side, that side, new marks with the mixer that came with it. DJ in a Box, 2003. I wish I had this set up in 2003. I think I would have had a lot more fun. But anyway, I have it now. And before I put these turntables away, because I've got the Cross 12s Pioneers, which are kick-ass, no more tone arms. I just wanted to make sure they work, and as a backup, obviously I could use the BCD 3000 as kind of a hybrid mixer, where the software, yeah, we'll get to that. But the BCD is interesting because it can take the inputs from the turntables and then outputs, just RCA. So that's nice simplification, and then also it has the control wheels on it. But the issue with that is that the mixer is not standalone. It's not external. It's software mixing. So at the end of the day, you're kind of at the mercy of whatever sound card and computer, as opposed to this setup, which was the original Final Scratch, not the original Final Scratch 2. So here's the unit. You have to get an AC adapter for it. I forget which one it is, but you can find it online. You do need the AC adapter. It's running on FireWire. This is a PC that actually has a FireWire port, which is why I literally took it out of the garbage. Broken screen, but now we've got this. The idea is that this unit can be in there with like all the wires underneath, and that you could just pull out and plug into the mixer. These are your outputs coming from the Final Scratch, and these are the inputs going from the turntables to the Final Scratch in the back. Very powerful unit. And here's the kicker. So there are drivers for this that were released as late as 2015, it looks like. So this is running Windows 7, this laptop. It was made for Vista, but I got Windows 7 on it, and all the drivers are good. Yeah, so if you want to use these timecode vinyls, these Final Scratch vinyls, which is what I had when I bought that, you have to use Traktor DJ Studio. So Traktor DJ Studio, it just says Traktor there, but this is actually Traktor DJ Studio. You see up there in the top 3.0 or 3.1 or 3.2 or something. It is not Traktor 3 or Traktor Pro or any of those nomenclatures. This is 2008, software. And if you don't use the studio version, then it can't interpret the Final Scratch vinyl. So probably you could use this unit if you have a FireWire PC, like an old Mac Mini. I had one my friend gave to me. It doesn't boot up. I can't get it to work, but like I have an old iMac. So I'm thinking maybe I could use this with that iMac instead of this discombobulation thing. But this is the Champ that's running now. Actually, the battery still works in it incredibly. So we're gonna use this setup. FireWire port, it's working. Like I said, DJ Studio is the only one that can interpret this timecode. Probably we could use this guy with newer software. I was actually thinking of using it with like Mix, the open source one. But then I wouldn't be able to use this timecode that I have. I do have the timecode for, what do you call it? DJ Pro, right? This is the latest and greatest in timecode with the stems and everything on the B side. Listen, that works great when you got a new Mac and with the BCD as kind of like a MIDI USB mixer. to do internal mixing. But I gotta say, this setup sounds amazing. I'm playing some tracks tonight, some old groovy techno. Let me just play this for you. Something about that analog sound. It sounds better. I mean, this is a high quality device. So the sound card, and there's no latency on FireWire. It's not USB 1. This is 400 megs a second. Yeah, Sebastian wrote. It sounds great. My mixer sort of works, the queuing thing. But this is the only analog mixer that I have, so I wanted to make sure this thing still works, which it kind of does. The crossfader's a little whacked out. Like I was saying, okay, this probably could work with newer software if you have a PC that supports FireWire. Then great. Then you can maybe use a version of Mix or a newer version of Traktor if you had the new Traktor timecode vinyl to go with it. But the setup that I have right now, because I'm limited by the timecode that I have, and I didn't want to try the DJ Pro timecode, even though I think it's a Stanton timecode. So it probably would work with I'm sorry, a Serato timecode. It's probably a Serato timecode. I didn't want to do that because I kind of want to have, if I'm going to have a system that I can pack up that's going to be my backup, I want it to be standalone. I don't want to mix and match. So I'd rather have, those guys be something I could use if the tone signal doesn't work, or I have to just grab these and use my other setup. But this is like the third backup, I guess, in a way. Old PC, Final Scratch 2 device, and Traktor DJ Studio. Now, I was looking at the Traktor DJ Studio 2.6, which is the first version that supported timecode vinyl, but the problem is that it can't understand all of my music because I use M4A, which is the Apple Music version. So if you have like iTunes Match, that works really well for taking like junky old MP3s, 128 kilobits, and you upload them into Apple Music, and then it matches with something in the iTunes store, and then it's called like upgrading your music, like upscaling, and then it allows you to download a 256 AAC file that is clean and it's DRM free. So that's what I've been using to like clean up a lot of these old MP3s that I have, which has been great. But now all my music, most of it, if there's a match on iTunes Store, is in M4A. Traktor DJ Studio 2.6 was the first version to support AAC audio, and it's having trouble with some of the newer ones. But this version, 3.0, is not having a problem. It's losing the ID3 tags. It's having trouble with those, but I don't care, And it also seems like the Final Scratch is much more, the calibration goes right through. I was having issues with this vinyl. Maybe there's some distortion or something, or this motor is, you can kind of hear like the time code sound. It's like woo, I had to change the capacitors in these motors, which is why I wanted to get rid of these stupid turntables, because what's the point of playing a record if it's going up and down and changing the, sounds like a broken record or a wobbly record. But whatever. It could get you through a night. Yeah. So anyway, working good now. like I was saying, I think this version 3.0 DJ Studio, if you're using the Final Scratch timecode, which I don't think you need to, because this guy is now basically open source. I'm using a new driver with this. I think it's like version 5 that was all the way up from 2015. So Windows 7 likes the driver that I have for this, which is good. They're playing nice. The latency is like 11 milliseconds or something. So it says. And I'll just show you the configuration. If I go to Preferences, Audio, and Sound Card, so I'm using Final Scratch 2, which gives you the time code thing there, and then the output routing. So I had to reboot and stuff on this guy, but yeah, it's working good. You know, if it works, it works. Don't touch it. But I have to say the sound quality is excellent, the latency is excellent, and there's something about using an analog mixer, getting the output from, you know, a high quality sound card, outputting to an analog mixer. It really sounds good because we're just so used to all of the controls being interpreted by the software, which is, you know, cool and everything. Like, hey, you use a controller, but then everything is handled over there. Like, this is almost like an external filter that just gives you like so much more sound control. And this is the dumbest, you know, mixer in the world, probably. It came with these two turntables and this guy and a pair of headphones and a microphone. It was called DJ in a box because I think they actually put both turntables and the mixer and everything in one box. And I think it was $300 or something. You know, ooh, direct drive turntables. Yeah. Actually, with a decent slip mat, I don't mind the feel. It's okay. They take off all right. But I think the motor speed is a little bit wobbly, but hey, I did change the capacitors. I did move the little magnets around that were becoming dislodged from the circuit board and re-glued them in place. I've got, you know, these cartridges that are super cheap. The styluses, I mean. So yeah, rock and roll. I'm going to play around with this, I think, the rest of the week just to, you know, just for the pure sound and the fact that the latency is really good. And the best part about, you know, DJ Studio 3, if I bumped this and it lost connection with the FireWire. Okay, yeah. So not the best. Let's see if it can recover. I'm gonna plug this back in. I don't know. Yeah, so we may need to get a Mac Mini or something, some other computer, but this guy does work well with this time code and Traktor 3 Studio, which can read our files, modern M4A files. So that's pretty much it. And I highly recommend these old school setups only because you can use an analog mixer. You know, I was looking at, well, actually, I just bought myself an Allen and Heath PX5. So that will work as a digital mixer, right? I was afraid of just going with a pure analog mixer like the Zone 92, even though it's advertised as having that classic club sound, that analog sound. I don't like the Zone 92 specifically because it doesn't have any effects, right? It has the best filter in the world, sure, but I need reverb to expand the room, and I guess that echo is pretty cool too sometimes. So the PX5 is kind of like a newer hybrid mixer where it's a high quality sound card, right? To really simplify the setup, instead of having this unit with like all these RCA cables going everywhere, you can just have the turntables plugged into the back of the mixer and then output right from there. But the irony of kind of working out this old equipment before I put it away so that I know it's useful and it's not just like a collection of mismosh, is that I'm really impressed with the sound quality coming from these old systems, which were high quality sound cards, but then being passed through a super analog mixer, so you're getting this really fat bass and really high highs. And I think that's because, the mixer is kind of really doing its job as it was intended, rather than everything being computed on the computer side and then just output. And then you're also dealing with like faders that are actually suppressing the sound instead of sending a MIDI command to the internal mixer on the software to do something. So anyway, interesting things in the world of DJing. And, it kind of makes me sad that, in college I had these turntables, yet I couldn't make the bridge to digital vinyl for some reason. And I remember I used to have like two laptops and I would just use like a mouse to control the MP3s and mix between the two laptops. And it's like, man, you could have just gotten a Final Scratch for $400. I guess $400 was a lot back then. Maybe it was a lot more. I definitely remember it was out of reach for me, which is a shame because I could have used these turntables to do exactly the setup that I have here. I mean, that laptop is literally from, it's got Windows Vista on it. So what is it? It's got to be at least 2010, probably, right? Maybe something like that. But now we have it now. So we're going to do our job now. Better late than never. And going to have some fun with this thing this week. I'm just so happy that I kind of like threaded the needle on the time code that I have. So I got to use Traktor DJ Studio. Can't go with the pro versions because they're going to be looking for the new Traktor MK1 or MK2 time code, which is its own deal. So I'm using the old Final Scratch vinyl with the right software and, get to use this old sound card via Firewire, which is pretty sweet. I might even use it with this. It's a 2008 iMac, which I'm just using an old version of Reason with a M Audio controller. So this is kind of like my studio setup, or at least my DAW setup. Reason 5 with M Audio, not 76, but I think it's 64 or something. And then this would be like my DAW-less setup. So that's my EG101, my Electribe, and then of course this like really old school 70s organ, which has some awesome analog sounds. Yeah, I really like the Cross 12s because they're hybrid, so they are turntables. I could use them just like this in a setup with control vinyl, with my DJ Pro control vinyl. But the nice thing is that they can just output tone control right from the Magvel clamp, and then you don't have to worry about wearing out your vinyl control or your needles or people jumping and stuff. So anyway, djgeo.net. thanks for watching. It's been a long weekend, but it's awesome to persevere when you kind of figure out, can't do this, if I do that, you're kind of going back and forth between all these different versions. You got to be able to put your USB in there with all your M4A files and be able to load them. So you need software that can interpret that. You can't go too high because then timecode isn't going to work. And then, hey, isn't it cool that the Final Scratch 2 device is actually really high quality, sounds great, very versatile. Too bad it's made for FireWire, which you're going to be stuck with an old Mac or some random PC that uses that. So that's my video for the night.